Hi everyone, welcome to White City Place Connect, where we're offering occupiers of White City Place a live platform from which to learn and engage from the comfort and safety of your own homes. So you've come for yoga. Welcome, my name's Dora. We're going to begin seated. I have a couple of these foam blocks which are really fantastic if you are starting to cultivate a little home practice. But you can just also sit on a cushion or a rolled up blanket if you wish. Come to a cross-legged position or even into Virasana sitting on the shins. So if you want to try Siddhasana, which is how I'm sitting right now, I'm kind of perching towards the edges of my blocks here, my two blocks. It's almost like they're tipping up behind me so that my knees can come to the floor. The feet, if you look down at the feet, you have one foot in front of the other, tops of the feet on the earth, and the heels are aligning with the pubis. In this way, the thigh bones slant downwards. And when the knees are lower than the hips, it allows for that natural little arch in the back, just the natural curve of your back, enabling the spine to be tall and free without having to use too much muscular effort to lift yourself up here. Yeah, but don't worry if this doesn't work. Just come and find your comfortable seat. I'm going to place the palms facing down on the thigh bones. Bring your spine back perhaps a half or a full inch. You may want to shrink the hands up the thigh bones, letting the elbows soften towards the lower ribs, so that the upper arms drop vertically down from shoulder to elbow. Lengthen up through the back of the neck, base of the skull. And as you soften the skin of the face downwards, allow your eyelids to close over your eyes. The weight of the brain drops down through the spine into the pelvis and down to the right and left sit bones, as if the sit bones were growing into roots. And the roots are descending through the earth, not just downwards, but also in a circular pattern, like a carpet of roots around your base, like the roots of a tree. So from the navel down, we're engaging the force of apana, the downward movement, grounding, connecting to the earth, stabilizing. And from the navel upwards, the force of prana, not to be confused with the universal energy. This is pranavayu. As if you're splitting your body in two, the lower part of your body below the navel releases down, apana. The upper part from the navel, the upper part of your body reaches upwards, prana. So there's a balance here. We're neither propping ourselves on the top of the earth or collapsing. Somewhere in the middle there. Bring your awareness now to the breath at the base of your nostrils. Sensing the texture and temperature of the breath. Slightly cool air enters on the inhale. Slightly warmer, more humidified air on the exhale. You might notice or sense the breath on the upper lip. Or perhaps a little further up through the nasal passages. Just keeping a gentle focus in this area. Wherever you feel the breath more acutely. You'll very quickly notice if the mind is very busy or distracted this lunchtime. Any resistance to simply paying attention to the breath. Engaging a longer, smoother breath now. Take an inhale. Follow the breath up through the nasal passages, down the back of the throat, traveling all the way down to the inner seam of the spine, down to the base of the perineum. As you exhale, the breath rises up the inner seam of the spine, out through the back of the throat, to the nasal passages and nostrils. As you inhale, you draw the breath in and it descends. As you exhale, breath rises up and out. Just follow this on your own for a few rounds. Noticing any impatience to get going, any resistance to this simplicity of attention. Or just how really rich and lush it is to follow all the myriad of sensations that come with the breath and its directionality. As the inhale draws in and descends, can you feel how the outer layers of your body rise in opposition? And as you exhale and the breath rises up and out, how the tops of the shoulders and the sit bones descend. On the inhale, the breath moves down and the body rises upwards. On the exhale, the breath rises up and out, and there's a sense of rooting and grounding down through the body. And let this go. Bring the hands to the heart in prayer, pressing right and left palms together gently. Lift the pelvic floor, feel an upward lift to the core of your body, elbows float up a little bit and gently open the eyes. And let's release ourselves from this pose, moving your cushion or blocks out of the way and just stretching your legs out in front of you, flexing the feet. Take an external rotation from the tops of your thighs and brush the legs out. And an internal rotation as the toes draw in. I'm just showing you with my hands also, but you can keep the hands on the floor. So sweeping the floor with the outer heels and then inner heels. So external rotation happens right from the root of your thighs. Internal rotation as you come back in. And then bring your heels hip distance apart. Take your right ankle underneath your left knee. Right underneath the knee joint and fold the opposite shin in front. You can wiggle the ankles underneath the knees so the shins are almost parallel to the top edge of the mat. So it's going to be a stronger opening for your hips. Take the fingertips to the floor and walk your sit bones back 1 and 2. So the triangular shape between your legs is a little bit bigger. And then hinging forward from the hips, walk your fingertips forward so they're a little bit wider than your shoulders. Draw the shoulder blades up the back, chin slightly in, and take a little sway from side to side here. Just easing, coaxing your way forward until you find your own comfortable edge. If the sit bones are lifting, root back from the tips of your fingers. Some of you may feel you can plant the palms into the earth. Come back to the sensation of your breath. And the intensity of sensation here wants to be interesting rather than overwhelming. And start to walk your fingertips back towards you as you come upright. Make sure the spine is upright here, not leaning forward. And twist around, taking the back of your right hand over the thigh, your left thumb behind you. Root down, lift your spine. With each inhale, create space between the vertebrae. Each exhale, move into that space. Possibly floating your left arm up behind you. You're going to lean across here as if the right shoulder was to come to the right knee. Chin slightly in, maybe looking up towards that back thumb. Keep reaching out through the crown of your head. And the arm that comes across here is providing a little bit of weight down onto that thigh. So just notice if you're holding your knees up unintentionally. Just release the neck and look down towards and beyond the right knee. And looking up once again. And as you come back upright, sweep the right arm across, slice the air. Palms up, take a big inhale. And as you exhale, draw your thumbs down towards your midline. Release the arms down and stretch your legs out. Take a few external and internal rotations right from the tops of your thighs. Sliding on the outer heel and then the inner heel. And then taking your opposite ankle underneath the knee. Fold the shin across. Walk the ankles underneath. Walk your sit bones back 1 and 2. Hinging forward. Take the fingertips a little bit wider than your shoulders. And if it's useful, you can make a few swaying movements here to take yourself forward. Staying on the tips of the fingers or pouring the weight into the hands. And you might be quite high up here. That's fine. It's not about how far we make it down. Just finding your comfortable edge. So it's a challenge, but not too much. You can be here and breathe. Breathing into the back of the body. Breathing wide into the back of the waist, the kidneys, into the sacral bones. Walking your hands back towards you as you come upright. Take a twist in opposition, back of the left hand over the thigh, right thumb behind you. Root down to the sit bones and the back fingers to lift. Each inhalation, you grow taller. Each exhalation, you move into your twist. No forcing. Just moving into the spaces that you create on the inhale between the vertebral bones. This is where the twist resides. Floating your right arm up behind you, leaning over as if the left shoulder were to come to the left knee. And the arm that comes across is allowing a little bit or creating a little bit of weight on that thigh bone. Look up towards the back thumb. And release the neck as you look down and beyond your left knee. Turn your gaze to look towards that back arm once again. And as you come back to the center, slice the air with your left palm as you open the palms towards the ceiling. Take an inhale. And as you exhale and the thumbs draw down, the inner body rises up, gently lifting the pelvic floor. Let's move out of this now. Or just turn the shins around and come onto your hands and knees. Take the hands, another hand forward from the shoulders. Flatten the tops of the feet and circle the hips 3 times in each direction. Inhaling and exhaling. Feel how the pelvis rotates over the top of the femur heads. And freeing up the rib cage. Reverse this if you haven't done so already. Great, tucking the toes. Come and sit down onto the heels. Your head can be slightly lifted off the floor if you want to keep the crown of the head in line with the tailbone, and you can rest the forehead on the floor if it happens to make it naturally. Draw the arm bones back into the sockets, so connecting the arms back to the mid-spine. Plant the palms down. And the next inhale, come up onto hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lower the knees to the floor. Exhale, come and sit down onto the heels. So just reminding ourselves that the breath initiates the movement. So the inhale takes us up onto hands and knees. The exhale into your Adho Mukha Shavasana. Inhale, lower the knees. Exhale, come to sit down onto the heels. Last time. Inhaling. Exhaling. Let's hold our downward facing dog here. And you can bend one knee and then the other, easing into the backs of the legs. Broadening across the shoulder blades. There's a softness in the elbows. And extend out to the sides. Just slightly. Putting a slightly more rounder shape, so there's space for your neck. And then maybe raise both heels as you inhale. And sink both heels as you exhale. One more time. Inhaling. As you exhale and sink the heels, feel your toes grow from the fronts of the ankles, as if they're growing beyond their tips, as if you have flippers on here. The next inhale, float forward into plank. Exhale, lift your hips up and back. Inhale, float forward into plank, the base of the skull lifted. Exhale, lift your hips up and back. One more time. As you come forward, hug the thigh muscles around the bones. Lift the inner thighs. Keep the base of the skull lifted. And then press back into your down dog. Soften the knees and walk your hands back towards your feet. So you're going to be standing at the back of your mat with your feet a good hip distance apart. Snuggle the feet into the earth. Check that the knees are tracking over the middle 2 toes and let your head go. Very rarely have an opportunity to let the head hang off the spine. Press your inner thighs away from one another. Now you'll probably notice that the knees start to angle a little bit out of alignment. To counter that, press your outer shins back towards. So inner thighs away, outer shins back towards, firming the muscles and ligaments around the knees to keep our joints safe. And bending the knees, reach back with the sit bones as if there was a stool to sit on. Place your forearms onto your thighs and your palms into prayer. So a supported chair pose, Utkatasana. Use the elbows to lengthen the thigh bones back so the inner groins roll in and back. At 60% of the weight on your heels. Coming up a little bit more, reach the fingers forward. And then twist, without twisting the pelvis, wrists come to the outside of your left thigh. Extend the spine. Open up the heart, raising up your left arm. Inhale. Exhale, palm on palm. 2 more times. Open the heart, lift the arms as the inhale. Exhale. 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale. Reach your palms forward. Slide the elbows back onto the thighs and then slide the hands down the front of the shins. Lift your sit bones as you fold. Let your head go. Good. Bending your knees again. Slide the elbows onto the tops of the thighs. Press the thigh bones back. Reach your arms forward. Keeping the hips square. Take the wrist to the outer right thigh. As you inhale, open up the chest. Raise up the right arm. It's a beautiful opening into the upper body. Exhale. 2 more times. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. Reaching the arms forward. Elbows slide onto the thighs. Hands slide down the fronts of the shins as you fold. It's the hands onto the feet. Lengthen the toes as if you had flippers on. And continue to walk the hands forward back into your downward facing dog. Fingers are lengthening from the fronts of the wrists. Let your head fall in line with the spine. And coming forward into your plank position. Lift the inner thighs, keep the base of the skull lifted. Without rolling the hips, could you float your right toes off the floor? Just a little bit. Take the toes down. Left toes float off. Take the toes down. Lower your knees. Chest and chin to the earth as you exhale. Inhale. Slide the belly and chest through baby cobra. Lift your navel, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Great. Walk your feet forward towards the backs of the wrists. Place your feet hip distance apart. Take an inhale as you sweep your arms out to the sides. Lead with your heart rather than your face. Coming all the way up to standing. And then draw your thumbs down your midline to your heart. Take an inhale here. Exhale, turn the fingers down and dive towards the floor, taking the fingertips to the earth. Lift and lengthen your heart as you inhale. Exhale, step back with your left toes into your lunge. Root down to the legs. Get a little bit of buoyancy in the hips. Squeezing the thighs towards one another as if you were holding a pane of glass between your legs. And then let the chest float off. Sweep your left arm forward, your right arm back. Take an inhale. As the arms pass through, exhale. Inhale, right arm comes by the ear, left arm reaches back. Exhale. Swap again. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then as the left arm comes up, so does the chest. You're going to arrive in a high lunge. Soften the back knee. Fingertips are light. Wrap the left side of your body forward. And then slowly start to descend. Just allowing that left knee to land really softly, really quietly. Take the hands into prayer. Twist towards the right knee. Left elbow can come onto the top or to the outside of the thigh. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Lift the heart towards the tips of the fingers. Keep the breath flowing. Good. And then if you wish to take it further with the back toes tucked, keep the hips low. Simply press your left heel towards the skirting board and let that back knee come off. It's a bit more of a balance. Feel free to keep the knee down if that's where you are today. Take the hands to the floor. Step back into a high plank. Lower knees, chest and chin as you exhale. Inhale, come through. Exhale, tuck toes, downward facing dog. Soften the elbows. The thigh bones reach up from the tops of the knees to the pelvis. The shins lengthen down from the fronts of the knees to the ankles and all the way to the tops of the feet as the toes seem to grow even longer. Walk your feet forward towards the backs of the wrists. Come all the way up. Keep the chin and lead with the heart as you inhale. Arms sweep out and up. Just up by your ears. Exhale, thumbs draw down towards your heart. Turn the fingers down and dive towards the earth. Release the mudra, let the head go. Take an inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, step back with your right toes into your lunge. Root down to the feet, let the hips be buoyant. Fingertips start to lift. Right arm reaches forward, left arm back. Inhale. Exhale as you change the arms. Inhale as they extend, left arm forward. Exhale as they pass each other in space. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. As the right arm comes up, the chest lifts, high lunge. Melt the shoulders. Bring the earlobes over the tops of the shoulder heads. Start to slowly lower your back knee down and it touches down so lightly. Hands come into prayer. Twist, the right elbow comes onto the top or to the outside of the thigh. Lift the heart towards the tips of the fingers. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. One forearm from your two. Keeping the pelvis low. Push the right heel away. Maybe the knee comes off the floor. Taking the weight through the pelvis and into the back leg here. Take the hands to the floor. Step back into a high plank. You could take a full chaturanga up dog if that makes sense to you and you wish to kind of up your energy a little bit. Well, stay with me. Knees, chest and chin. Come through as you inhale. And exhale back into a downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward towards the backs of your wrists. Fold over your legs. Inhale, lead with your heart, come all the way up. Exhale, thumbs down towards your heart. Turn the fingers down, scoop up the belly a little as you dive towards the earth. Touch the earth. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, step back with your left toes into your lunge. Push down to the feet as you lift, left arm forward, right arm back, inhale. Change on the exhale, right arm forward. Left arm reaches up, the chest lifts. Hands to the heart in prayer. Come forward, little anchor through the ball of your back foot. Twist, elbow onto the top, left elbow onto the top or the outside of your right thigh. Maybe look down towards the toes. This might be enough, or you could start to shift the weight over. See what it might be like to lift that left leg up. Right leg can be bent or start to straighten. Little twist in the upper body. Take the left toes back to the floor. Lift your chest, thumbs to the heart. As you place the back heel down, open your arms along the horizon into your warrior two. Gazing towards your right fingers. Inhale, raise up your right arm. Exhale, scissor the left arm across. Arms floating away from the body. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. As you come up this time, turn the right toes in. Swivel your feet to the left. Come all the way down into your warrior two with your left foot in front. As the right arm comes over, take the right hand inside the foot. Back heel swivels. The left arm continues to circle into a twist. Left hand comes onto the floor. Step back into a high plank. Whatever vinyasa works for you, or simply lift your hips back into the down dog. I'm staying with a beginner's version here. Back into your downward facing dog. Walk your toes a little bit further forward in down dog, so you're shortening your stance. Take the weight into the right hand and feed the arm bone back into the socket. Try to engage the muscles around the shoulder blade. This will help to stabilize the joint there. Left arm comes across the body, takes a hold of the outer right ankle or shin, and then there's a little twist to your upper body as you look underneath the armpit. Sink both heels, lift both sit bones. Then take the right hand back to the floor. Walk both hands a little bit further forward, so your down dog elongates a fraction. Float your right leg up behind you. Inhale, step the foot in between the hands. Right foot forward. Take the right hand to the inside of the foot, so we're walking around the mat, all the way around the mandala of the mat. Your wide-legged forward fold, all the way around towards the left. And step your back foot forward. Feet are hip distance apart. Take an inhale. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, draw your thumbs down to your heart. Turn the fingers down, dive towards the earth. Exhale. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, step back with your right toes. Find your lunge, root down, belly floats, right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale. Switching arms on the exhale and inhale. Float your right arm up. Let it lift you into a high lunge. Palms come together. Twist, anchor to the ball of your back foot. Right elbow comes onto the top or to the outside of your thigh. This might be enough, but you can take your gaze beyond your toes on the floor in front of you. Spill your gaze forward. So if you start to take this balance, you're not just dive bombing. You're lengthening the spine through the crown of the head. Maybe the right leg rises. Step back into a high lunge. Thumbs to prayer. The right heel comes down. You're going to break open the arms into a warrior two with the left foot in front. I'm just going to change around so you don't have the back of me. Left foot in front in your warrior. Warrior two. Left arm comes up, right arm across, exhale. Inhale, arms float away from the body, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale as you come up, turn the left toes in, turn the toes to the right and descend into your warrior two here. Left arm comes up, hand to the floor, back heel swivels up, the right arm circles. Take the hand to the floor, step back into a high plank. In vinyasa or no vinyasa, lower knees. Chest and chin, if you're following me, you could just lower onto your knees, come back into a down dog. And we find ourselves here again, just coming back home to this four-legged creature. Make our down dog a little shorter by walking the toes forward. And it's worth giving yourself a couple of seconds to set up this left arm. So pull the weight into the left hand, feed the arm bone back into the socket, engage the muscles around the shoulder blade. Right arm comes across, hand onto outer shin or ankle, little twist to the upper body. Both heels sink, both sit bones lift. Stabilizing the muscles around the shoulder blade, as best you can feel those. Take the hand to the floor and walk the hands a little bit further forward. Float your left leg up behind you. Step the foot forward in between the hands, all the way around your mat. So left hand comes inside. Walk yourself through over to the right foot and glide your back foot forward to fold. Coming all the way up to standing as you inhale. Exhale, thumbs draw down your midline, turn the fingers down, scoop up the belly as you dive towards the earth. Exhale. Inhale, lift and lengthen your heart. Exhale, you're going to step back with your left toes into your lunge. Push through the feet. Bring the thumbs underneath the heart this time. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Sides of the neck are super long. And simply lift yourself upright. Break out your arms along the horizon as your back heel comes down. You're in a warrior two with your right foot in front. Take an inhale, raise up the right arm, left arm comes across, exhale. Inhale, come across, maybe this time you're going to settle the right shoulder or upper arm onto the thigh or knee as you reach out. Keep curling your right sit bone underneath you. Lovely. Float the right fingertips to the floor, the left arm rises. Pushing into the foot, rise all the way up. Straighten up, turn the toes in. Take the hands onto the outer thighs and slide the hands down onto the ankles here. Let your head go. Maybe your thumbs can lift the inner ankle bones up and away. Toes are lengthening from the fronts of the ankle joints. Bending your right knee here, walk your left hand, or take your left hand over onto the ankle. So you've got both hands around the ankle joint there. Some of you might be straightening the right leg a little bit, pressing back to the top of the thigh and opening the elbows wide. So you've got a kind of a circular shape with your arms. We've Release the hands, bend your right knee, swivel back around into a lunge, right foot in front, and step your back foot forward so the feet are together this time. Bend your knees, and you want to turn your left toes out. So you've got a Charlie Chaplin foot. I'm going to turn to the side to perhaps show you that. So left foot turns out. Left hand comes onto the ankle. Lift your navel and see if you can suck your left foot up your inner thigh into tree pose. Firm the inner thigh of your supporting leg towards the foot and take the hands into prayer. Press your palms together. So there's a relationship between your inner thigh and your foot here, which helps the foot from not slipping. Of course, you can have your foot around the ankle, just a mini tree, if it's too much or it doesn't want to stay high. I'm going to turn to the side again. You can stay where you are, just for the next movement. So whether the foot is high or the foot is low, you've created that openness in the groin, the angle that you need for your warrior one. Bend your supporting knee a little. Step your left foot back, and this time the heel comes to the floor. Right knee is bending. Twist and take the left elbow onto the top of the thigh. Back heel down so you've got a little bit more stability. Pull your right hip back in space. Great. Couple of breaths here. And take the fingertips to the floor. Your back foot stays the same orientation. You're just going to step it forward about another foot. Pyramid pose. And then maybe begin to straighten the legs, suck the right thigh bone back into the socket. Lift and lengthen your heart, and then fold forehead towards the shin. And bend your front knees. Step back with your left toes into your lunge. And take a down dog, which should feel a little bit more like a resting pose now. Nice, symmetrical, stable, four-legged creature. Walk your feet towards the backs of your wrists. You can inhale, lead with the heart, come all the way up to standing. And as you exhale, thumbs draw down your midline, turn the fingers down, point them down, dive towards the earth. Lift and lengthen your heart, step back with your right toes into your lunge. Root down to the feet, take the thumbs underneath the heart, lifting yourself up. Come a little higher, lift the sternum. And break open the arms along the horizon as you open up into your warrior two. Left arm rises, right arm comes across as you exhale. Inhaling, possibly slowly, settling the upper arm or shoulder onto the knee. Spin the heart, curl your left sit bone underneath you. And opening up the arms, just because you like to make lines in space. And coming all the way back up, turning the toes forward. So the outer edges of the feet are lining up with the short edges of your mat, hands onto the outer thighs. Slide the hands down onto shins or ankles. Let your head go. The big toe joints stay grounded. Invite the weight into the outer edges of the feet. Engage the medial arches of the feet, which will in turn engage the inner legs. Bend your left knee And take your right hand over onto the ankle. So you're just holding the front of the ankle joint or shin. Open the elbows wide. Take the top of your right thigh back a little bit and maybe begin to straighten the leg. Notice if the weight is a bit too far back on the heels. Shift it forward, but just before the toes start to grip. Releasing this, bending your left knee. Walk yourself around towards the left foot into a lunge. And glide your back foot forward, feet are together. Bend your knees and turn your right toes out like a Charlie Chaplin foot so the heels stay touching. Left toes point forward. Take your right hand onto your right ankle, and by lifting your navel, you can see if you can slide this foot up the inner seam of your legs, coming into tree pose. Firm the inner thigh of your supporting leg towards your foot. Maybe the hands come into prayer. If it's too much, you can have the foot on the shin or ankle. And pressing the palms together. Giving the uplift and also the sense of rooting down from your navel. I'm going to change positions. You can stay where you are, just changing legs. And then this right foot is going to step back. Place the heel down so you find your warrior one. You can wiggle the toes forward a little bit if you feel a little bit too short. Twist and take the right elbow onto the top or the outside of the thigh. Draw your left hip back in space. Lean your shoulder blades away from the knee slightly. Back heel is down, so it might feel a little bit more stable. And take the fingertips to the floor. Back toes the same orientation, just step the foot in about another foot. Shift the weight between the legs, lift and lengthen the heart, maybe begin to straighten that front leg as you suck the left thigh bone up into the socket and then let the forehead travel towards the shin. Pyramid pose. And bending your front knees, step back with your right toes into your lunge and step back into your downward facing dog. Last down dog. Stretch your hips off your lower back, press the tops of your thighs back. And then lower your knees to the floor, flatten your feet. Come and sit down into a child's pose. Maybe sway the hips across the heels here. And curl your way up to sit on the heels. Tracing the fingertips along the floor, onto your knees and onto your thighs. Bring your knees together, sink your hips to one side. Stretch your legs out in front of you. So again, if you had a block and you needed a little bit more elevation, you could sit up on the block here. You don't need to. I'll demonstrate with it. Just gives you that little extra height through the lower back. Draw your right knee up. Place the foot to the floor. And then take the, I'm going to do it this way. Right knee up. Separate the legs. This foot is flexed. Good. So with the right knee bent, take the left hand onto the ankle. Right hand inside, and you're going to kind of lean over that straight leg. Just encouraging that knee to move outwards slightly. You could Reach your right arm up, look towards the thumb, holding the front of the ankle. Release the neck as you look down towards the straight leg. Look up again towards that lifted arm. And take the right hand back inside the knee. Fingers point down towards the ankle. Half straighten this right leg and just be on the heel there. Slide the hand down towards the ankle. Take a twist in opposition. Left fingers behind you. This might be enough. Or you can continue to slide your right leg straight. Slide the hand towards the ankle and raise up that back arm. Coming back to center, open the arms out to the sides. And sliding your left foot up so the heel is on the floor. Right hand comes to the front of the ankle. Start to twist and release over the straight leg. Left hand comes inside the knee. Left arm rises. Release the neck by looking down towards the straight leg. Looking up again. Left hand back onto the inner knee. Turn the fingers down so as you slide on that heel, the leg half straightens. Twist away from that leg, right fingertips behind you. Both feet are flexed, spread the toes. If you're going further, the leg straightens, hand slides towards the ankle. Opposite arm reaches up. Coming back to the center, arms come out to the sides. So the legs are wide here, but not so wide that you are collapsing in the lower back. Yes, you could take them a little bit narrower. If you find this pose really challenging, take the fingertips behind you, fingers pointing forward, and just lift your heart up here. So you get a little bit more lift, and this might be where you are. And keeping that lift and that slight pelvic tilt, you might take the fingertips in front of you. Fairly upright, still quite an intense pose. We'll start to make your way forward. You could plant the palms, maybe even come down onto the forearms. Keep rolling the inner thighs towards the sky. So again, find that place where the intensity of sensation is interesting but not overwhelming. Where you can stay in stillness for a few breaths. And just notice any resistance in the mind, any frustration or sense of boredom or impatience about being here. And whatever comes up for you is most likely to be what happens when you hit an uncomfortable situation in your life. Your response to that may be similar to the one you possibly are experiencing now. Let's start to make our way up out of this. And taking the hands underneath the knees, so just easing your legs out of this. Come towards the front of your mat. Curl your tailbone under and release yourself down to the earth. Draw your knees towards your chest. And let's just take the hands over and hug your knees in. Maybe lift the head and shoulders off the floor. And taking a simple twist here, take the knees over to the right. Arms can come into a T shape. If you want something different here, the left arm comes up by the ear, the right hand onto the top of the thigh, just to create a little bit of weight down there. We don't need to force the knees together. Spread the shoulder blades, gaze is just towards the ceiling. Couple of breaths into the belly. Opening your arms out to the sides, draw your knees back through to the center. And take them over to the left. Arms can stay as they are, or the right arm reaches up by the ear, the left hand comes on to the top thigh to give a little bit of weight down there, or knee. Spread the shoulder blades. Open your arms out to the sides. Draw your knees back through to the center. Place the feet to the floor. Bring your arms down by your sides. Keeping the knees bent just for a moment. Just roll across the back of your skull. Letting your head roll. Just from passing from point to point, the momentum of movement, rather than using your neck muscles to turn the head. You can find a single point on the back of the skull as your head aligns. Drop your right knee out just an inch or two, really just a tiny bit off center. And start to stretch the leg forward as you flex the foot. So you're sliding the leg forward, kind of on the outer heel. And let that whole leg release down. Drop the left knee out an inch or two. Slide on the outer left heel. Just a slight external rotation as you release that leg down into Shavasana. You might need to lift your heart, slide the shoulder blades down the back. And of course, if it doesn't feel comfortable for you to be lying flat here, keep the knees bent, the feet on the floor. This is the moment for you to let go entirely. Letting go of everything that you've done in the past hour. Shavasana is the pose of integration. It's where we assimilate everything that we've done. In your return to the physical body, having a sense of the whole body, its weight and shape, the space that you occupy in the room, and coming back to the movement of the breath, allowing the inhalation in particular to gently reanimate, re-engage that energy, the mobilizing energy as you prepare to reconnect to your day. And when you're ready, make your way over to the right side. Take your left hand onto the floor by your face, using the support of the earth to spiral your way back to a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. And bring your hands to your heart in prayer. And bow your head towards the tips of the fingers. Gently open your eyes here. Raise your gaze on the next inhalation. Namaste. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you next week. I'll be here next week and every Wednesday through August. Have a good one. Bye.